Welcome to Five Guys, Movies, and Fries. This is a podcast where a couple of guys talk about movies. We all just watched Barbenheimer, which is a cinematic experience, directed by Greta and Christopher Nolan, starring Margot Robbie, Cillian Murphy, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Will Ferrell, Florence Pugh, Matt Damon, Michael Cera, Kate McKinnon, and America Ferrera. The list goes on and on. This movie, like I said, it's a cinematic experience. There's two parts to it, and I'm really glad there's a break in the middle whenever you see Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
We all literally just got back from the movie theaters. We're back in our Mojo Dojo Casa houses. So our takes are gonna be fresh and hot because we all just saw this had this experience together. And I don't know,
religious experience, I would say.
Yeah.
In terms of movie going, yeah, this kind of has to be somewhat what a religious experience feels like. Maybe
I would kind of agree. I'd like to note that we technically didn't watch Barbenheimer. We watched Oppenbarbie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which I think was the right call, Joe. Like, you made a good call there. Always have your dinner and then your dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine walking away with the amount of weight that Oppenheimer brings with it. I can't. It's so much better leaving with that sparkly pink feeling of Barbie at the end, rather than walking away with my head buried in my. I mean, my head was still buried in my hands with waterfalls because I was tearing the fuck up through most of Barbie. All of that movie was just on point with everything it did. The cast. I'm glad that was my first Greta Gerwig movie. I know she's been talked about. Sure. No, I've got way too much on my watch list.
Yeah, she killed it.
Holy God.
Unbelievable.
Hit every point on the head.
I don't know if watching Barbie and then going straight to Oppenheimer, if that would be as good of an experience. I really kind of.
It's a very different experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely different. Yeah. But I don't think it would have been as good either. I think the way that all panned out for us.
No, this is the way to do it.
This is the way. Barbie for sure. Also, Barbie is like way better of a movie, and Oppenheimer is one of the best movies I've ever seen. So it would have been rough going from the best movie to like a pretty good movie. It was nice going from like a pretty fucking good movie to the best movie.
I have some takeaways from both movies that are kind of similar. I like the music in both.
Yeah.
I also think both of them are very much performance driven.
Absolutely. Yep.
To go from seeing Cillian Murphy and his portrayal of Oppenheimer to Ryan Gosling's portrayal of Ken were kind of equally hypnotic to me.
Yeah. Well, and Margot Robbie too. Like she fucking was amazing. She was phenomenal in that movie.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Like that's, man, just fucking phenomenal acting between both movies the whole damn time.
I could have done without Will Ferrell for sure.
He was fine. He was just, Will Ferrell,
He fit the bill, but I wouldn't have missed him if he wasn't there.
Yeah, they could have gotten any fucking guy to do that role. It's like, oh, Will Ferrell, okay.
It's also because we've had like 3 decades to get to know Will Ferrell.
Yeah, it's just more Will Ferrell. Man, Gosling looked like he was having the time of his life.
Barbie was one of the funniest movies I've seen in a while, for recent movies anyway.
Yeah. Agreed.
Gosling's so funny in this movie. His facial acting is really funny when he first arrives in the real world and he's seeing all these construction guys, police guys on horses, and like guys in suits, and he's just reacting to what he's seen. His face is so funny.
Absolutely.
It's the best facial acting I've seen.
That bit with what does he say? Once I realized the patriarchy wasn't about horses, I kind of lost interest anyways. What a fucking line, dude.
Oh my God. Apparently he didn't even want to do the movie.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and I guess Margot Robbie brought him a pink present every single day to convince him to stay and keep doing it. Like that's
Killed
just
it.
fucking awesome.
Oppenheimer, on the other hand, is definitely a different beast for sure.
Oppenheimer was, it's your foot to the pedal and not letting go. And that pedal is also crushing the magnificent, brilliant, and dark mind of Robert J. Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
You will not let off the gas in anticipation of knowing what's going to come out of this man's brain, if you could even, which is what I'm thinking Nolan is just trying to do, just trying to get us even remotely close to what kind of trauma he could be going through with all these facets of life coming at him at once.
Well, and if you think about the amount of information that has to be portrayed to us in order to see things potentially from his point of view, in regards to something of this scale, that's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah. And he did it though really well. I mean, just even from the beginning of the movie, just showing us those like scenes of him kind of just staring off and like trying to imagine, you know, like the atoms and you know, the quantum realm and stuff. Like it was so beautiful. What a fucking phenomenal movie Oppenheimer was too. Like it was such a great character study. Is that what you would call it? Yeah, of Oppenheimer. Like I felt at least like this is what this guy went through. Like they really did it. Nolan did such a phenomenal job of portraying that.
Can you imagine any director other than Nolan trying to approach this story?
It wouldn't have been nearly as good. Like it just, he has like that grasp of how to start a story and then keep it building until the very end. And it's crazy because the nuke going off isn't even the fucking climax of the story.
No, it's like the halfway point.
It's like the halfway point, and it doesn't even it feels like a climax, but then it just keeps going from there and building, and you realize it's not about the bomb, it's about like this guy's life and what this did to him. And like the end of the movie is literally him just like, yeah, here you got like your award finally after being, you know, literally just fucked over by people who had your back and who you had their back, and they just screwed you over. Like that's such fuck. I'd say that's good writing, but I mean that's just what happened. That's just this guy's life. That's crazy.
I feel like this is definitely a combination of good writing and good acting, because the whole time you're watching Cillian Murphy play Oppenheimer, at least for me, I never felt like I knew what was going on in this man's head or like what his intentions were. He always felt like distant and mysterious in a way. And I think that lent a lot to the movie for me, because it's almost like I was putting him on trial, trying to figure out what his intentions were.
Absolutely. And it definitely seemed throughout the movie like his intentions were good, but man, there's a lot of darkness there.
He's being forced into a lot of places, because you see around the first, at least the first portion of Oppenheimer, he's trying to distance himself from everybody's. He's trying to keep, even just know where he is.
Yeah.
Even just establish where he is in between all this political bullshit going on, and still being driven by his ability just to be a scientist, a brilliant man.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because like he doesn't, like it's almost like for a bit there he didn't want to get involved. Like he knew what was going on, but he didn't want to get involved. And then it's like at a certain point there was just a switch where he realized like he needs to be the one who's involved. He has to be the one to guide this project the way that it goes, because otherwise it's going to, you know, fail catastrophically and or result in, you know, the total annihilation of humankind, right? And I mean that's pretty much what we're left with at the end of the movie, is like his conversation with Albert Einstein, where he's just like, I'm afraid we already, you know, this is like we already did kill everybody, or well I can't remember exactly what he says to him in that final scene, but like
he's afraid that he essentially set off the chain reaction to destroy everything, which was what they feared would happen.
Which is probably right. I mean, at some point in humanity's future, we will probably nuke this entire planet and everybody will fucking die. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why we ended on Barbie. That's why we finished this fucking double feature.
Exactly.
With a magnificent movie like Barbie.
Oh my God, what a movie. What a fucking movie. Just hearing Joe say that was one of the funniest movies he's seen. I mean, that's like the highest praise in the land.
I cackled at this movie.
Barbie? Yeah, it was really so good.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
dude. It was just the right amount of silly. Like, it didn't take itself seriously, and yet it conveys some very serious things in it.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, what America Ferrera's like monologue is one of the most powerful monologues about, the female condition that I've ever heard. And obviously none of us can really speak on that because we're fucking stupid men. Sorry. But I mean, holy shit. As a man, I was like, whoa, like this is fucking impressive.
I think Greta Gerwig was the perfect person to tell this story just in the same way. Like,
Chris
have you
Ferrell was.
guys seen many of her other flicks?
I've seen some of them. Yeah.
I don't know. Let me look up the
Francis
list.
Ha.
Highly recommend if you haven't watched Lady Bird to follow this movie up with that one.
That's the one with Michael Keaton.
Series.
Am I thinking of the right movie? Michael
You might be
Keaton?
thinking of Birdman.
Birdman.
You're thinking of
It's got a
Birdman.
bird.
Lady Bird is
No.
another movie.
She was in Isle of Dogs. Okay, that's cool.
Who?
Greta Gerwig, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like what?
Yo, these movies were superb, man. I like the music in both a lot.
Yes. The couple of like musical numbers that we got in Barbie 2 were just like fucking awesome. That Ken one alone was like I'm gonna put that on YouTube like right after we finish the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to watch that shit over and over again. It was so fucking amusing and just a great song. Like I loved it.
I really like the deployment of the soundscape and music in Oppenheimer and the way that it like builds tension,
Yes.
and then the way he uses silence to like release that.
We did a lot of what he does with like Inception and like a couple other. I mean, he does that in most of his movies, but
I would compare the bomb scene in this to the docking scene in Interstellar in regards
Yes.
to payoff. At
I
least.
still got to watch Interstellar.
It's really amazing. Really amazing that he just had that in complete silence.
Yeah.
And then the wave of sound hits, and then you think, oh, that's probably what it is like. I'm
Like,
guessing.
you could just hear them breathing.
Yeah.
And then also
He even
when
sets it up too, because he shows a couple blasts before then, and the timing on them is different than you're used to seeing in a movie. He's like showing you like this is how that would actually play out.
yeah. And even when he's doing the like the final speech like after the bomb goes off and like the sound just drops out and you can just hear that like one lady scream, but it sounds like a child screaming. Like holy shit. Like instant chills just from talking about that. That alone was, man, that whole movie was just full of powerful scenes like that.
Robert Downey Jr. was pretty good.
He fucking
liked him a
killed
lot.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me more RDJ like that. I mean, we've had our time with Tony Stark. Like I want to see more RDJ taking these serious roles where he can still be like have that snarky attitude, but we don't need the fucking one-liners and shit. Like make him serious. It works. It worked really well.
I can only reference A Scanner Darkly for Robert Downey Jr. performance.
Yeah.
If you need something to somewhere to start outside of Tony Stark, that's where you can start.
Oh, absolutely. I remember seeing that movie when I was like 15 or 16. One of our teachers showed that to us, I'm pretty sure, for some class. And
Really?
yeah, which is pretty crazy, right?
Literature.
And it was fucking. I think it was because they were showing it to us because doesn't it have like weird animation style or something?
Rotoscoping.
Yeah, that's why. It was for like an art class and they were showing us rotoscope. And then he was like, yeah, we're just going to watch the whole movie though because it's fucking amazing.
There's another movie that uses that same style. I think it's called like Waking Life.
Waking
Yes,
Life. Yeah.
that is.
Yep.
That's it.
That movie's also really, really fucking good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Or at least it was back when I watched it. It's been goddamn, 15 years. So
I love that Barbenheimer is on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
It has its own page, yeah.
It is well deserving of it. This feels like one of those once in a lifetime like events.
Yeah. What a time to live as a fucking movie lover.
People talk about like going to see Book of Mormon and on Broadway and other Broadway plays, and like this feels like it's at that level, even though it's not Broadway, and everybody will be like, you can't compare those. I don't know. I feel like you could.
Yeah.
You try to compare the feelings that Broadway fans get at a it's all about knowing your audience and knowing what you love as an audience member.
I feel a little like sad that so many people won't watch Barbie because it's Barbie, and so many of those people need to watch Barbie.
Yeah, 100%.
What a combination. I thought going into Oppenheimer was going to feel like a drag because it's 3 hours long, but it felt like an hour and a half long movie.
Yeah. Because that tension build, like, he just keeps it going and going.
Like I'm saying, it doesn't let off the gas.
Yeah.
Like, it just does not let off. If you get a couple moments here and there where it's, making connections between his wife and Florence Pugh's character's name is escaping me, obviously, but
yeah.
Like, just you get little moments like that, and then it's just back on track, back in the real fucking world. Like that. And I know he has
it almost felt like
Ludwig Göransson, who did the score for Tenet, which thinking that if he had brought Hans Zimmer on, it wouldn't have the same. Hans Zimmer feels like he has.
I could see
softer moments.
I could see Zimmer score in this movie. I could see a Hans Zimmer cut of Oppenheimer.
It's just that the momentum and like velocity that Tenet has, it like but it put into the real world setting.
I will give you the soundscape of Tenet carries it a lot.
Yeah.
You're definitely right there.
It's another movie I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it's wild to go from Tenet to this. This movie was incredibly fast paced. It felt like a Safdie Brothers movie.
And what do you know? It had a Safdie in it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Was it Benny?
I'm pretty sure it's Benny.
Benny Safdie, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it next to Uncut Gems on level anxiety inducing.
It definitely keeps you.
Yeah,
I absolutely would.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely the same speed. Yeah.
It definitely was pretty fucking intense. That's for sure.
I feel like I just want to have more to say about this, but putting them back to back is a task. It's such a task.
I am looking forward to watching them individually on their own.
I mean, typically we, sit down, we take notes, we pause at times and stuff. We watch this on our own time. So going and seeing them in the theater and then immediately doing the podcast is definitely going to feel different.
We're just running on fumes, all of us.
And all we can do is gush about these two fucking amazing movies.
Yeah, it's hard to like, we've talked about it. Be like, we need to stop talking about what we like and don't like about these movies and actually get some constructive, maybe podcast worthy content. No, it's whatever.
People like hearing us just gush, so.
I definitely want to give a shout out to the absolutely god awful trailers we had to sit through.
Oh man!
In order to get to Barbie,
you didn't like Paw Patrol Mighty Paws?
No.
Yo, that movie looked fire. Fuck you.
I don't think there was a single trailer.
There was one that looked kind of cool. That The Creator, that looked kind of cool. It's like the AI took over and then made like that little girl into like a robot thing.
TMNT trailer is all that I'm taking away from that. And I'm saying that as a Trent Reznor Atticus Ross stan.
I'm so hyped to go see that movie later this week.
One about the GameStop short that I saw before you guys came in.
What was that?
It's about the GameStop stock betting short. It's got a lot of people in it.
Like GME, Wall Street Bets, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
All Reddit things. Diamond hands. Apes going.
They turned that into a movie pretty quickly. I think Paul Dano was in it.
For real?
Yeah. Seth Rogen.
Not catching this.
You'll see it eventually.
I really, really liked with Oppenheimer how they give us this slow build as we learn more about the story and stuff, and I didn't know like much about any of that stuff, so I felt like, as somebody who didn't have a lot of knowledge on Oppenheimer himself and exactly like what had happened around the Manhattan Project and everything.
Think to call it a slow build is disingenuous.
I'm just gonna say, like, I can't see how you can see any kind of slow build,
right?
In Oppenheimer from beginning to end. My head was against the floor. My head was against the fucking floor from how much was going on in that movie.
No, you're right.
It's a lot of trials and meetings, though.
Yeah, that's more what I meant.
yeah.
I meant
Okay.
like the pace of the movie itself.
When you try to
is
read
definitely
between the
fast.
lines.
Well,
Yeah,
it's just shoving so much information in your
No.
face.
exactly. And I really liked how they did that and built him up so much to the point where I mean they're even saying in the movie, and like he's on like Time magazine, like, you're the most important man in the world, you're the most famous man in the world. And then it just culminates in him having to sit in this tiny little room, getting prosecuted by a fucking piece of shit. Like, that guy did such a great job of like just being a dickhead. And then it all just results in them basically just like questioning his morals and his worth, and whether or not he was like actually secretly a spy and stuff. I mean, like,
He
if
didn't have
that's
an
really what
actual
happened to
spy.
this guy, that kind of shit, I can't believe he made it through that, honestly. That's the kind of shit that just ends somebody.
I think it wants us to. I think it tries to make us look at Oppenheimer through a lens. You know what I mean, and potentially try and suss out where his head was at.
Yeah.
Like they keep it vague on purpose.
Well, and that, like, when you come back to the quote, I think I could be wrong. I know the Hindu community was pissed at using the quote, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. But you're just really trying to make him human. He is human after all. But when you have that much power, when you know that your choices have that much sway over what's going to happen in the immediate future, like I can't imagine having those abilities just laid out in front of you and not being a complete wreck.
Do you guys think that the movie paints him in too, I guess, generous a light? Do you think the movie is neutral enough?
I mean,
Yes.
I felt like it had like a semi-positive bend towards him the whole movie. That was the feeling.
That could
I
just be
got, at
because we're
least.
seeing him through the protagonist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're always just going to bond with the protag no matter what.
Absolutely. And I don't know, and I'm sure that was, his intention, Christopher Nolan's intention, is...
He does kind of feel like a background character in a lot of scenes, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a villain in this movie, but it does portray him sympathetically and as conflicted. He's very conflicted, but not necessarily guilty.
They do show that he's vain in more
Sure.
than a
Yes.
few ways.
And kind of a piece of shit. Like, he straight up cheats on multiple women.
Yeah.
Because he was banging...
Well, he's not on trial for that, Will.
No, that's right. Yeah. Because they alluded to him banging like that other guy's wife too, and then like it seemed
Right.
like that's kind of actually was probably happening too. That's no bueno. That's all bad guy stuff.
Yeah, I can't believe he detonated an actual nuke to make that movie happen.
It sure looked like it.
And yet Barbie had the bigger budget.
Which is,
Yeah.
well, I bet a lot of that budget went to their marketing campaign, though, because their marketing campaign was fucking wild.
Oh, no, Barbie Land? A lot of that looked practical.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. I think almost all of it was practical. It was crazy.
I'm pretty sure those John Cena effects were definitely practical.
All those sparkles that came off of Ken and Ken when they were, like, glowing at each other, that was definitely practical.
Yeah.
That's just what love looks like.
Just love manifested.
Dude, Simu Liu, I can never say that guy's name, but fuck, I loved him as like Ken's antagonist, like the antagonist Ken.
Ken, yeah.
Yeah, as Ken. He was fucking great.
It's proper to call Ken an anti-villain, right? Because because you could see it that Barbie just touched on so many great things on both sides of the patriarchy and
Matriarchy.
I was gonna
Feminism?
and it was something constructive to say there, but I don't know where I was going with that. But
It was a movie.
It's okay, Knack. We still love you.
I want to see those sets. Those Barbie dream houses were fucking fire.
I want to get that fucking what the fuck's it called? That fanny pack that he had that had like the Metallica style Ken on it.
Yeah.
Fucking need that.
Do you know what Barbie Land reminded me of? Was the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
The live action Cat in the Hat. The sets in that, what was it, Bo Welsh? I think it's no, not Bo Welsh. Bo something. But the guy who did like the sets for Edward Scissorhands and shit, it was his one attempt at directing a movie. Was Cat in the Hat. And like all the sets are practical. But it kind of felt like that, just really plasticky and just
I loved how like she opened up the fridge and like you can just see it's like a decal. Like, all that kind of shit. All the cars looked like weird as they were driving. Like
the gags were so good. So good.
Yeah.
Prop gags, all the little touches. It was surreal, honestly.
Inspired on the back of the milk jug.
Rhea Perlman. Can I just say I hadn't seen Rhea Perlman on any screen in the longest time, and she is just as adorable and lovable as she always ever was. Holy fuck.
She was fucking great. And let's not forget Michael Cera as Alan. Fucking dude, he fights like 40 Kens and fucking beats their asses.
That's Alan for you.
That's Alan, baby. Yeah. He even fits into all of Ken's clothes. I really liked when they were all fighting on the beach and both of the Kens like basically just did like a pose to like push people away from them with like their sexiness or something. Like I don't even know, but it was awesome. Oh man,
it was just the right amount of outlandish.
It was so perfect. Like I like how they get to the real world. They just like literally hand wave you through, like just. How did we get in these outfits? I don't know. How did we get on this vehicle? Like, fucking gold.
Yeah, I'd say overall 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Yeah. Oppenheimer.
I'd give Barbenheimer 10 out of 10 as well.
Yes. I can't I can't fault either of these movies for a single thing.
God, they were just fucking perfect, weren't they? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't have changed a fucking thing. I can't think of a single thing that I would have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you can get a more beautiful, perfect Barbie than Margot Robbie. Like like the fucking Helen Mirren literally calls it out that like, well, if you guys didn't want somebody to look the most perfectly Barbie, probably shouldn't have picked Margot Robbie.
No, there was I'll bring it up here. There was a shared meme. It's not memed out, but somebody shared a post of somebody. He shared a picture of Margot Robbie without makeup on and called her mid. The bastard had the fucking audacity to call her mid, and the caption to the person who reposted it says, "If anybody in this world thinks Margot Robbie is mid, we have lost the plot.
Dude,
we have lost the plot of life altogether.
We're in the fucking worst timeline. Like, good what Lord. The fuck?
How dare you?"
I mean, truly one of the most beautiful women just of all time, and extremely charismatic. Like, holy crap, dude! She sold this whole movie.
I mean, it feels like everybody brought their A game.
They did. Yeah. Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie was so good. Like, she was so good.
Have you ever watched? I've like watched some behind the scenes of Greta Gerwig directing, and she seems like such a sweet person. You know what I mean? She just kind of lets people do what they need to do to get the performance. I think that really shows in Barbie specifically.
That's awesome.
I've heard the same thing about Chris Nolan. He's just a sweetheart. Just a big, lovable sweetheart.
Just a big teddy bear.
Yeah.
He's like, couple of takes, we'll get it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
But Cillian Murphy, he bought pink gifts for Robert Downey Jr. every day.
Oh, just to keep him coming back.
Yeah. Because he was so insecure about can he act after Iron Man.
Yeah.
He brought him bombs every day. But that is true. Robert Downey Jr. was kind of insecure of if he could act again.
I will say it was kind of hard for me to take him seriously at first, but I got over it pretty quickly. But at first I saw Robert Downey Jr. and I was like, that's just fucking Tony Stark right there.
I know I've seen Robert Downey Jr. in plenty of things before he was Iron Man.
Yeah.
And so I can't share that feeling with you, but I get where that feeling comes from. So, you know,
that's just how he's been saturated to me for the past decade and a half.
Yeah. And that's why I tend to barf when a lot of actors tend to just signing on to Marvel movies. But that's just the world we live in. I'm so glad we got to see these two movies together.
Yeah, me too. You know what? Watching movies with friends, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So
now whenever we watch these movies in the future, we'll have to then watch the other movie too.
I actually kept my tickets, legit.
Just won't feel right. Yeah, I got mine too. Although I think, Knack, you still had a couple of the Barbie tickets.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
Hold on,
I still have them. Yep.
Yeah, those are going up on the wall of our podcast studio when we're rich and famous.
Should we flip this in reverse and just trail into talking about movies we've seen recently?
Yeah. Try stop or keep?
You can keep it rolling. The Whale. I saw The Whale.
I thought you'd seen that already.
I had not seen it until
just
a couple days ago. Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, it's great.
I remember you saying you've seen it. I don't know if either Jeff or Will has.
I have not.
You haven't yet? Okay. Like, definitely a culmination of like all of Aronofsky just pretty much pointing all of his talent in one movie.
Yeah. Brendan Fraser kills it.
And Fraser's performance, holy fuck.
Oh my god, yeah.
The girl's performance too, the one who plays his daughter. Like, I know she's in Stranger Things. I don't know her name, but like she really brought her.
Sadie Sink.
Thank you. Yeah.
She kills it. She plays. The first time I thought she was a little too on the nose for like a misanthropic teenager.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's great though. I like it.
She's in those Fear Street movies too, I think.
Okay.
I think.
Have you seen clips of the play on YouTube? You can find clips of the original play.
Okay.
For The Whale. And it's so weird because people are laughing at certain parts. It's almost like it wouldn't work as a play, but it works as a movie.
Wild.
Yeah.
Should I check out bits of the play first?
No, I don't think you should.
No.
I'd say watch the movie first, because you might spoil it. I mean, there's parts of there.
Yeah.
Definitely watch it after though.
I recently put down 12 Angry Men and Prisoners.
Oh shit, 12 Angry Men's great. Yeah.
I loved it, dude.
People have been talking about that online recently for some reason.
Yeah, it was free on YouTube. I was just surfing YouTube and it just showed up and I was like, fucking let's go.
It's a Sidney Lumet movie.
Yeah.
That is a great movie.
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Over there. Huh? Is my phone sitting over there? Yeah. Thank you.
He directed what? Devil Knows What?
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. He also did what was it, Network?
Oh yeah. Devil. Okay, I didn't know about that. Directed a lot of good stuff.
Yo, what was the trailer for that new Paul Giamatti flick? What was it called? It was like the
handovers.
The holdovers.
The handovers.
Holdovers, I think.
Yeah. Holdovers. Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right.
I'd watch that.
That looked okay, but I don't think I'd see it.
Yeah. Prisoners was pretty good. Hugh Jackman was fucking phenomenal in that movie. As was Paul Dano. Paul Dano was really good in that movie too. Yeah. That's about all the movies I've watched recently. Honestly.
I watched Dolores Claiborne.
Oh yeah,
because it was as soon as I mentioned it to my buddy at work, he said, "You haven't seen Dolores Claiborne?" And I know I'm a moviegoer before I'm a book reader, so I know I can't tell you barely anything about the Stephen King universe, but like holy crap, if I know I love Kathy Bates and she's a powerhouse in that fucking film.
Powerhouse and everything.
I also, and like Jennifer Jason Leigh, also enjoyed her performance in there. It's just, I was just really glad to get to the end of Dolores Claiborne because it's just, as much as I know that the movie's trying to touch on all these points of trauma, I just need a breath. I just need a breather at some point. So it was just throwing all this trauma, left and right. Just fucking Dolores's daughter just being a shitbag at her, and fucking there was a lot to take out of that fucking movie, but glad I put it down. And then you mentioned there was that connection.
Do you know who directed that movie?
Can't.
I'm curious who directed Dolores Claiborne. I think King needs a good director in order to be good.
Taylor Hackford.
I don't know who the fuck that is. What else has he done?
Devil's Advocate.
Oh,
Ray.
Maybe I should know who this man is.
Blood In, Blood Out. I've seen some of these movies. Yep.
There's some alright shit in there.
Oh, I know. I watched something recently that was really good. You guys heard about this this Christopher Nolan flick, Oppenheimer?
Oh yeah,
it's pretty good.
I was gonna check that out. I'll get around to it eventually.
I also watched this. I don't know. It was like pretty decent. The Barbie movie.
Barbie.
The Barbie movie. Barbara.
I don't think you're saying it well enough.
All right, end the podcast. End it right there. We ain't topping that. That's an oofta.
I was going somewhere with that. Moon Age Daydream, the David Bowie documentary. Joe, did you say you saw that?
No, I haven't, but I heard it was okay. It's just
it's okay. I mean,
yeah.
I only know a little bit about. I knew very little about David Bowie outside of just knowing he's a wonderful musician. But what I loved about the documentary is that there's no narration. The entire journey that you take us through concert footage and interviews and just people following David Bowie around with a camera. And it still manages to go through the big sections of his life where he goes through such extreme changes. I've never that was easily the most magical documentary I've ever seen, and just also emphasized how magical of a being David Bowie actually is. I will say is, because I fail to see how a man like that could die a successful death.
Yeah, I could see how that could be cool. I heard it was like more of like an experience than a educational documentary.
Yeah, you could say I would say, since it's played out with only known and captured footage, that it doesn't touch base directly.
Yeah,
I like the idea of that concept though.
Yeah. But that also means you're not getting anybody else's word on David Bowie. You know what I mean? It's also emitting. To me, it felt like it was emitting the feeling of David Bowie without somebody telling me the feeling of David Bowie. You know?
Did you watch The Last Dance? That documentary about the Bulls that dropped on Netflix a couple years ago?
No, I heard it was really good though.
Oh, the Chicago Bulls documentary. Yes, yeah, excellent documentary.
I walked away similarly impacted.
Yeah, with just his competitive. His addiction to being competitive, not addiction to just like gambling or the sports, just the addiction to be on the winning team. Yeah, seeing him when it was a scene where they show after he plays against the team that Larry Bird is coaching, and he's like, "Keep working on your golf game, Larry." Yeah. Like, holy fuck. Just the chrome-plated balls on Michael Jordan are just insurmountably heavy.
A good documentary, I feel, could really portray well. That's why I really want to see that David Bowie one.
Well, maybe we can discuss Thief in a week.
Yeah?
Good stuff. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
To be discussed, The Thief of Baghdad.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm looking forward to that too. I have a feeling it's not going to be as good as these other two movies. Sorry, Nick.
No, hey. I mean,
who knows?
Like what could be?
What could be?
Yeah,
exactly.
In comparison, I will say, The Thief of Baghdad definitely holds up as a fantasy, because like both neither Oppenheimer nor Barbie somehow feel like fantasy movies to me.
Yeah.
I'm saying that in arguments with Barbie not being a fantasy movie, but
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Just has to be better than Bright and Never Ending Story.
Yeah.